that I was on the front page, and in a nutshell, and I've got notes so I don't miss anything. I don't want to get emotional here, but obviously the people that wrote that, Mary Ormsby, Bob Rae, the Liberal Party of Canada, and York University will know that I'm going to react to that. Again, they've created a false narrative. My circumstances are a result of this. My circumstances today are not because of my substance disability, the fact that I was diagnosed for disability in 2008, but the reaction of society to that disability. Let me share with you just a few quick little short anecdotes. Jane Fonda in the 1980s turned around and said when she visited Canada, she thinks that's where everybody should want to live. 30 years later, she doesn't share that opinion anymore, which was quoted a year ago. Donald Trump recently said, for all what is bad or what people think is bad that comes out of Donald Trump's mouth, I agree with his recent quote to say that Canada, and I think he's referring to really the establishment of Canada, are spoilt, and they act spoilt all the time. In terms of my own circumstances and who I am as a person, I was in Google a few months ago, and somebody walked out and stole something. Security guard pulls her up, has a word with her, takes the merchandise back and lets her go. I speak to the Google people and I said, why wouldn't you do anything about that? And they said, because we try to see the good in everybody. And throughout this process, I've tried to see the good elements in everybody that's involved. I've tried to resolve this matter since I was discriminated against by York University. I've tried to approach them 6, 7, 8 times from 2011 to 2018. Same with Bob Rae. I've tried to treat him with dignity and respect, but I've been treated with nothing but indignity and disrespect, including this all-timer by Mary Ormsby from the Toronto Star, which is, from my perspective, absolutely disgusting and is the final nail in the coffin for me. Just bear with me, please. I'm going to keep it as short as I can. 9/11. There was a documentary on 9/11 that I watched a number of months ago. 35 minutes. Brilliant documentary that encapsulated everything. And they spoke to one person there, and they were just saying about, as they went through that day, things were so bad, and they just seemed to get worse and worse and worse. Every second, every minute, it's got worse and worse. And I relate my own story to it, is that the longer it goes on, it gets worse and worse and worse, encapsulated by Mary Ormsby. So in a nutshell, the Mary Ormsby article was targeted to continue to deal with a false narrative and what other people want from this. This is a massive agenda going on. I have no idea ultimately what it is about, maybe decriminalization of substances. This is Paul James, this is where they completely got it wrong. They stereotyped me. They created a false narrative in terms of editing the video that I spoke to about substances and the way we treat substance disability people as criminalized people. That part of it is a part of a narrative, but this is not what I'm fighting for. I'm living and lived in a field, not because I couldn't get employed at this stage, and the only reason I could get employed now is because I confronted through the website, confronting the stigma of drug addiction 2 years ago. And in some areas, and in people that have it correct, it's actually heroic and courageous what I'm doing, not angry. I'm angry for a reason, logical reasons. Mary Ormsby has painted me there as a down and out loser on the field, just like what we do with people with substance disabilities, and that I'm homeless because of the substance disability, and I'm homeless because of drug addiction. This is absolutely so brutally false. Mary Ormsby, I've had a list of the top worst people I've ever met in my life. You now vault yourself into number 1 ahead of Prime Minister Trudeau and Bob Rae and Colin Burkle as a result of this. I just want to make a couple of more points. So what this is about for me is the discrimination that happened at York University. This is about the discrimination that happened to me throughout the Canadian judicial process. This is about, therefore, confirming from the Supreme Court of Canada is substance disability protected under Section 15 of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms. That's what I'm starving myself to death for. Moving forward, as of 12:01 tonight, I am now going down just simply to water. I'm not even going to do sodium. I'm bringing this to an end. I have no choice. That article now, 4 or 5 pages, front page, false narrative, lies. And by the way, the reason Ashley didn't give a quote to you is because, as she said to me, I don't trust her. I don't trust this system. She didn't trust it from 2015 with the National Post coming out. And there's many more things, but I'm going to talk about those every day because I'm now going to starve myself to death. I'm literally going to die, and only it's in your hands, not mine. If I wanted to commit suicide, I would have hung myself by now. I'd have plenty of reasons. And for the Canadian public that are watching, or the global public, Mike Young, please contact people in Britain, contact people on the outside. This is an absolute disgrace to humanity, what's going on. But as of 12:01 tonight, I am just drinking water. I have no idea how long I'll survive, but every day at the same time, a video will be released, shorter than this one. I'm sorry for going on so long. As far as what will take me off it now, the only things that will take me off this hunger strike is FIFA to come on down on the Canada soccer, to investigate the Paul James circumstance in terms of the bribery scandal in Singapore. I have for 35 years or 30 years had that held over my head, and Mary Ormsby at this late juncture did the same thing, initiated by Bob Ray. So I'm asking FIFA once and for all to demand Canada soccer investigate and publicise through the RCMP a full-on investigation. And I would say the second thing for me is the RCMP initiated by the Canadian Parliament, doing full investigation of Paul James and Paul James' story, including the Singapore affair. And then the third thing is for the Supreme Court of Canada to review the Paul James file. I don't know how I'm going to get any lawyer out there that's not connected in any way to York University or the Liberal Party of Canada. You know, please take on my file, go back to the Supreme Court of Canada. I demand I request as a demand from the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Canada, Wagner, that you review my file. I believe there's ample opportunity to show you where, first of all, the Honourable Court misstepped and were incorrect with their handling of my file. And I believe you will see from the get-go that my file has been discriminated against. This is institutional collusion and corruption. I'm prepared to die for it now at this stage, as I always have been. And again, I'm ashamed to be a Canadian citizen, ashamed of ever representing Canada. Mary Ormsby, you've raised the bar on evilness to a new level. I'll talk to you all tomorrow at 12:01, May 10th.